In with a whole lot of weather. We've got the damaging winds and tornadoes that blew through Texas and, of course, Oklahoma. Some snow coming for the Northeast, big time wind in the middle of the nation, and then new blizzard warnings back in California. A lot to get to. Also, the new warning about criminals exploiting a security feature on phones to access victims' entire digital lives and how you can protect yourself. You'll see those stories and so much more right here on GMA.
Ahead in our next hour, GMSA, science says metabolism is genetic, but are you really doomed by what you're born with? We've got some simple things you can do right now to rev up your metabolism. And Stephen is tracking traffic for all of us. There's 90 at Leon Creek. I see some lights off the distance, but that just may be a whole bunch of headlights coming right at the camera. There's 37 at, and there's 281 at 410. We'll be right back.
Someone tried to steal an ATM on the city's north side early this morning. Good morning, I'm Sarah Acosta. Coming up on GMSA, the evidence that they may have left behind.
Now at 6, an investigation underway following a deadly overnight shooting. What we're now learning about what happened. Plus,
wood and debris started flying and hitting things, so I jumped in the back seat of a car in the garage real quick, but it didn't last very long, but thank goodness everybody's okay.
Right now, severe weather is slamming a big part of the country. We're going to take a look at some of the damage left behind and where the storm is heading next.
And outside with live cam, starting out in the upper 60s here in San Antonio this morning. Mike says some changes are ahead in our work week forecast.
Live from KSAT 12. Good morning, San Antonio starts right now.
Good morning, everybody. Hope you had an awesome weekend. It is Monday, February 27th.
The weather worked out. Thanks for joining us, and hope you get some not warm coffee. I was going to say cool coffee this morning because it's a little warm out there.
I was out at the Pearl yesterday afternoon. The sun came out. It was packed for a while in the afternoon.
And a little on the humid side yesterday.
It was.
You could kind of feel it, especially compared to what we had Saturday. But humidity is already dropping down in parts of the hill country right now. And maybe by the time you walk out the front door, it's already going to drop down where you are here in town because the front is working its way on in here. And this is not a big cold front. It's one of those that brings in the drier air. We've got plenty of clouds hanging around here right now. Temperature, dew point temperature, 64 here in town. 55 in Helotes and then 26 there in Kerrville. So it's already moved through in Helotes, at Boerne as well. Bulverde has dropped down as far as dew point temperatures, and then the wind is starting to pick up. So the wind is starting to actually shift there at the airport. The drier air is going to come right in behind that, and we've got some wind gusts already 17 out there at the airport and 21 at Lost Maple. So fronts moving through here in town. Dry air is going to be coming on in right on the heels of that. Got a whole bunch of allergens out there, and a little bit of oak is starting to show up as well. So, you know, as soon as we finish the mountain cedar season, now we get into the oak season. 78 at noon, 85 high temperature later on this afternoon, and it's going to be windier this morning. Wind is still going to be a breeze, but not anywhere near as windy later on today. Comfortable day with that drier air in here and that 85 degrees, but we're still going to be 15 degrees above normal. Humidity is going to work its way back in midweek. Gets even hotter as we start off the month of March. Then another stronger front, and get ready for some really strong winds by later on in the week. Details on that in just a couple of minutes. Traffic Authority, Stephen, anything going on the roads?
Not yet, Mike, but it's that hour where things really start to change. And right now we're not seeing a shift just yet, but it is just getting, again, busier every minute that we are taking a look at these TransGuide cameras. US 90 at Leon Creek is always one of those busy shots, and we'll likely see more activity out there as the morning does pick up. But for right now, I would say you're in the clear if you have to head out. It's a perfect opportunity to still take advantage of some quiet roadways. Getting into the map, it is, again, a lot of green out there, plenty of construction, but if you will plan on traveling this early in the morning, let's take a look to see if any construction is causing slowdowns. And right now, that doesn't seem to be the case along I-10 eastbound. If you're traveling in from Boerne this early, 24 minutes is what you can expect at this hour. 26 along 281 southbound from Bulverde, and about a 25-minute drive time along I-35 southbound if you are traveling in from New Braunfels. But let's get it back here on TransGuide and show you how the commute is checking out there at 10 at Probant. Not too bad, I would say. And 35 at Salado Creek. Seeing just, again, a few more vehicles out there as the roads are getting busier. But we'll watch things closely and have updates on those road closures coming up a little bit later on in this newscast. Steph.
Thank you, Stephen. Right now, we want to get to some late breaking news. An ATM was left smashed up at a Chase Bank on the city's far north side this morning after someone tried stealing it.
The attempted theft happened near a shopping center at Blanco and Loop 1604, right next to an HEB Plus.
Our Sarah Costa is live at the scene. And Sarah, what is the latest from police?
Well, the police have just cleared the scene, but we did get a chance to speak to them and give us a little more information about this attempted ATM theft. But I want to show you what we can see, all the evidence that was left behind. You can see these tire marks on the ground here, and you can see just how banged up the machine is because they tried to pull it out, were obviously unsuccessful, and even left parts of their vehicle behind. Police do know that it was a truck that attempted to steal this ATM. But police did say that they don't have a lot of information to go on at this time. They said that a passerby called them around 4:30 this morning saying they saw a truck attempting to pull this ATM out of the ground. When they couldn't, the truck took off. And it looks like they tried pulling the machine out of place with heavy gold chains that police have since packed up and they took with them as evidence. They left those chains behind. Now, police told us the money box in the safe, let me show you. The money box in the safe, police say, is actually at the bottom. And this is what they were trying to get to, but they were unsuccessful and they weren't able to break into that safe where that money is located. Police say they do have this video camera right here, and crime scene investigators are definitely going to be looking at that video surveillance later on today to get more information on the person that attempted to steal this machine. But for now, when we get more information, we'll bring it to you live on air and online. Live from the north side, I'm Sarah Costa, KSAT 12 News. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Sarah. New this morning, San Antonio police say one person is dead following a shooting overnight. This happened just after 11 p.m. on Frio City Road near Highway 90. That's on the city's southwest side. Now, police say a man was shot in the parking lot of a bar. Then he somehow made it back inside before collapsing. We're told emergency crews got there and tried to help him, but he died. Officers were able to detain a possible suspect in another part of town.
Sorry, go ahead.
Also overnight, frightening moments after a late night crash. It happened just after 10:30 at Blanco Road in 1604. Police tell us motorcyclist crashed into a car. He was taken to the hospital with some broken bones.
Other stories are following this morning. 2 men are facing charges after a shooting on the southwest side. That shooting happened just after noon yesterday at the intersection of Eskimo and Ferndale Streets. When San Antonio police arrived at the scene, they found the two suspects running away. They were able to catch up with them and arrest them. The victim was found a few blocks away and taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries.
New details following a deadly mobile home fire that happened 2 weeks ago in southwest Bexar County. The Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office now confirms a 4-year-old who died is Azaria Llamas. Now, the fire happened on Shepherd Road near Fowler Road. Crews quickly said that Llamas was trapped inside but weren't able to get to the child because of the fire's intensity. The cause of the death is reported to be a combination of the fire, smoke inhalation, and the collapsed structure. 2 other people were taken to the hospital for severe burns.
This morning, an investigation continues after San Antonio Fire Department EMS crews were shot at and injured. The crews responded to a call for service early yesterday morning on Bandera Road near Evers and Callahan. San Antonio police say someone drove by and fired multiple rounds in their direction. 2 of the EMS workers were hurt. Right now, it's unclear if the crews were the intended target.
UT Health San Antonio is bridging the gap in healthcare with rural communities through its mobile nursing clinic. The bus has 2 exam rooms, lab testing, tools to check your vitals, and all the supplies you're going to find in your regular doctor's office. So Dr. Sonia Harden is the dean of the nursing college there. She started her career in rural healthcare and knows how important it is to fill that coverage gap. Over the past year, the clinic road trips have brought care to over 300 people in Bexar County, Castroville, and Uvalde, with more outreach planned.
A lot of times you can't get in with a provider on the same day that you need one. And so being out in the community will allow that to occur.
Amerigroup Texas, a health insurance company, gave $150,000 to support the clinic road trips. Dr. Harden says she hopes to have another bus someday to provide mental health services to rural counties as well.
Now to the extreme weather overnight. Winds topping 100 miles per hour, slamming the southern plains. Widespread damage is being reported along with tornadoes.
Now storms are moving into the Midwest. Heavy rain for Chicago's morning commute. Icy conditions further north, and everywhere from New York City suburbs to New England is bracing for significant snowfall tonight into tomorrow.
But we begin with the destruction in the middle of the country. Here's ABC's Andrea Fujii with details.
The powerful storms rolled across the plains in the middle of the night, with destructive winds from the Texas Panhandle to Kansas. People in Oklahoma City were urged to take immediate shelter after a confirmed tornado was on the move just outside the city. The winds ripping off roofs and throwing this RV against a house. In nearby Norman, Oklahoma, the damage is described as widespread.
All I heard was like rattling. The whole house was shaking. The door was going crazy. Our front window in our third bedroom busted through, and glass was just flying through the hallway, and it was kind of scary, yeah.
This is the same system that brought rain, wind, and snow to the West Coast, stranding drivers and closing down sections of major highways. More than 6 feet of snow fell in the higher elevations of Southern California. Hundreds of students from Orange County were stranded overnight at a camp in the San Bernardino Mountains. In Valencia, this embankment collapsed, sending motorhomes plunging into the river down below. Luckily, no one was hurt. As the storm moves east, forecasters are calling for more ice and snow in parts of Michigan, where thousands of customers were still without power 5 days after a storm blanketed parts of the state with ice. The storm is then expected to move into the northeast, with heavy rain today from the mid-Atlantic to New York City and snow to the north. 3 to 6 inches expected in Boston by Tuesday. Shrewsbury, Massachusetts, already blanketed with snow earlier, gearing up for more. Tomorrow morning could be a messy commute for cities along the I-95 corridor, where several inches of snow is possible. Andrea Fujii, ABC News, New York.
Today's scheduled launch to the International Space Station was halted roughly 2 minutes before blastoff. SpaceX and NASA officials decided to call off the mission overnight after a mechanical issue was discovered. Next opportunity available for launch is tomorrow after midnight. This mission features 2 NASA astronauts, a cosmonaut, and an astronaut from the United Arab Emirates. The Crew 6 team, who will be on board the SpaceX Falcon 9, are expected to be on the ISS for about half a year. This will be the 7th astronaut flight SpaceX has done for NASA over the past 3 years.
Time now, 6:11 and 67 degrees for now.
Still to come, a new warning for iPhone owners, what criminals are using to gain access to your phone and the data stored on it.
Plus big problems for Dish customers. Details next in your morning consumer news.
Outside with live cam, 67 degrees at San Antonio International Airport. We're going to wrap up the month of February this week and jump right into March. Mike has your full forecast still ahead. 6:15, Dish Network goes dark. The satellite provider is in the midst of a major outage, knocking out the company's websites, apps, and customer support since Thursday. Workers have reportedly been told to stand by for information from management.
Motorola has come up with a Bluetooth device that enables two-way emergency texting when there's no cellular signal. The Motorola Device Satellite Link can be used on almost any iPhone or Android device. It's a $99 keychain accessory that's also capable of location sharing and SOS assistance.
The Pentagon says artificial intelligence has created a specially modified F-16 during 17 hours of flight. The flights included simulated dogfights as well as takeoffs and landings. It was all research into the possibilities of autonomous flight, which is coming to militaries around the world.
Let's go ahead and check back with our Stephen Cavazos. It looks okay on the roadways, but I don't know. What do you think?
Well, okay, it seems to be the theme over here, guys. 37 at I-10, not too bad. But although things aren't looking bad really on these TransGuide cameras, just a little bit busier. Unfortunately, we do have an incident to report, a crash actually that just came in here, I-10 eastbound. Check that out. It's right there at Loop 1604. Now, notice traffic has slowed down to just 8 miles per hour. This is going out toward east, towards Seguin. So this is just before North Greytown Road. I just tweeted about this on our KSAT traffic page, and unfortunately, the situation does not look good. I've been on the phone with our friends at TransGuide, and we're working on getting a shot of the conditions out here. Now, the closest shot we're probably able to get, you guys, I'm not sure if this is related to it, is right over here at 10 at Bicentennial. Again, this is I-10 eastbound. I do see some flashing lights out there. I'll get our friends at TransGuide back on the phone to find out if we can actually get a closer shot of the conditions, but it's in one of those areas where the cameras aren't necessarily always really reliable. So we're going to have to keep a very close eye on our map there. But again, I-10 eastbound at Loop 1604 is where we're seeing that problem and that buildup. So I just tweeted about this. You can scan the QR code that is now on your screen that takes you to our traffic page. I always talk about the closures, but don't forget our incidents that pop up on the roadways are also tweeted out, and they are embedded in that page. So know before you go, and drive safe out there.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
I just noticed your pockets where your dress.
You know, I was going to wear blue, but I loved Steph's pop of pink, and I just,
Thanks. We're getting ready for Fiesta.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh.
Trade places. Anyway, this morning.
Wait, did that work?
What just happened?
I don't know.
Anyway, this morning as the bus is heading on out, you don't need a jacket, but hang on to your hat because it is going to be, and it is in places, pretty windy this morning. No, you two trade places, so the pocket square is next to the dress. You two.
Oh, okay.
You stay where you are.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Yeah,
there you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Anyway, it makes the prom picture much better that way. 85 degrees later on this afternoon. Very dry air and not as windy. And then it's just going to get hotter. That's kind of a little taste of things to come. We were at 81 yesterday and progressively warmer, I should say hotter, each and every day as we go into the middle part of the week and finish up the month of February. Beautiful view of the moon. It is at its first quarter today. And here's your dad joke for the day. Why is the moon always moody? It goes through phases.
What?
It goes through phases.
Oh,
yeah, I was going to say that.
That's cute.
Thank you very much for the dad joke and the picture as well. As far as the picture looking outside, we've got some clouds hanging around here right now and temperatures. Now, it is down into the 50s in Kerrville and Lost Maples, but we're not seeing just this big, like going off the cliff as far as temperatures with this front moving on through here. What we are seeing, though, windier conditions, 12 miles per hour at the airport, Lost Maples at 11, and then the gusts on top of that, 17 at the airport, 21 there at Lost Maples. It's not going to be a huge wind event this morning, but just windier and not as windy later on this afternoon. So dew point temperatures. Now, we haven't really seen it drop down yet at the airport. The wind is shifting around, but that dry air is going to be coming on in here just in basically a matter of moments. 44 at Bulverde, 52 at Helotes, and Bernie at 36. So these numbers were up in the mid 60s just half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour ago as the fronts work its way on through here. And look at how much drier that air is out there in parts of the hill country. 36, 45 degrees lower for dew point temperatures than what it was at this time yesterday morning. And that number is going to be dropping down as well as that drier air continues to work its way on in here. So we get the dry air by later on this morning, I should say, and throughout the afternoon. So it's going to be a very comfortable day. That's going to help to allow temperatures to really get up there. Like I said, a high up to 85 later on this afternoon. So we are going to be seeing some clouds this morning as the front comes on through. And I really haven't seen anything on radar, but there may be a sprinkle associated with it this morning. Just one or two of them out there, not really amounting to much of anything at all. And then plenty of sunshine. It's 78 at noon and a high temperature today up to 85 and lots of sunshine out there. Now, as far as the satellite picture, here's the cloud cover. Notice how it's kind of hard to see, but the clouds are starting to clear out there in parts of the hill country. And upstream, that's the next couple of days, we've got just gorgeous weather. Our next weather maker is that low right there off the coast of the Pacific Northwest. And that's going to be coming in here late Wednesday, Thursday. But there's the big storm system, which is making the news right now. That's the one that produced the severe weather in the Panhandle, Oklahoma. That's the front moving on through right now. You can see we're just on the very tail end of it right there. And that thing's going to be a big ice and snow maker. And that continues to work its way off to the east of us, or off to the east and to the northeast. Now, as far as our weather today, windy conditions, windier this morning, and drier air continues to work its way on in here. 78 at noon, still a bit of a breeze out there. Then we make it up to 85 later on today. A really comfortable day, mostly sunny skies and good looking. Slight breeze, dry air, very nice. Tomorrow, starting off 55. We get even hotter in the afternoon. Some fog, especially down to the east and southeast tomorrow morning. And then we make it up to 87, 90. I'm going for 90 on Wednesday. More clouds around here, more humidity. Look at those low temperatures staying in the mid 60s. Very hot on Thursday. So March starts off really hot. And then that front moves through. It may squeeze out a couple of showers on Thursday, but very windy in behind that one. We are looking at some strong wind gusts overnight and early Friday morning, and then beautiful for the weekend.
I like the cold front, but I don't know if I like the wind because of the allergens, making their rounds.
Yeah, and now the mountain cedar season's pretty much over with. It's just the oak pollen, which,
just started to show up, right?
Yeah, I've got all those leaves in my yard now. I'm just waiting for the little dingle bobs on the trees and all that stuff. So
we hate those dingle bobs, whatever they are. There's an official name for them.
Catkins, I believe.
That's right. Justin mentioned that the other day. 623, 67 degrees.
I like that as well. Coming up on GMA with March Madness approaching, remember Sister Jean, Loyola Chicago's biggest fan? Well, she's back and talking about what she's learned in her first 100 years. You don't want to miss her story on GMA beginning at 7.
There's a different way to treat HIV. It's every other month injectable Cabenuva. For adults who are undetectable, Cabenuva is the only complete long-acting HIV treatment you can get every other month.
Cabenuva helps keep me undetectable. It's 2 injections given by my healthcare provider every other month.
It's one less thing to think about while traveling.
HIV pills aren't on my mind. A quick change in my plans is no big deal.
Don't receive Cabenuva if you're allergic to its ingredients or if you're taking certain medicines which may interact with Cabenuva. Serious side effects include allergic reactions, post-injection reactions, liver problems, and depression. If you have a rash and other allergic reaction symptoms, stop Cabenuva and get medical help right away. Tell your doctor if you have liver problems or mental health concerns, and if you are pregnant, breastfeeding, or considering pregnancy. Some of the most common side effects include injection site reactions, fever, and tiredness. If you switch to Cabenuva, attend all treatment appointments.
Every other month, and I'm good to go.
Ask your doctor about every other month Cabenuva.
In this morning's GMA First Look, an important warning for everyone who uses an iPhone. The Wall Street Journal reporting criminals are exploiting an iPhone security feature to gain access to victims' entire digital lives.
Losing things you care about, like pictures of your family, and going through that all on my own without being able to reach anyone I care about was probably one of the worst 48 hours of my life.
After stealing your phone within minutes, thieves can use your passcode to change the password to your Apple ID. That allows them to turn off the Find My iPhone feature, making it nearly impossible to track, and with potentially easy access to apps that have critical personal or financial information, losing your phone may be just the beginning. Coming up at 7 a.m., we'll have the expert tips you need to know to protect the personal and financial information on your phone. With your GMA First Look, I'm Trevor Ault, ABC News, New York.
Oral arguments set to begin in the case against President Biden's student loan forgiveness plan. I'm ABC's Faith Abube in Washington. Details coming up.
You're fairly safe when you walk outdoor this morning as far as what to wear. 67 degrees at San Antonio International Airport as we wait for the sun to come up on the last Monday of February.
Good morning. It is Monday, February 27th. Happy Monday. Thanks for joining us. Hope you had a good weekend.
Mike says temperatures are going to change later this week, but for now we focus on some unusually warm temperatures that continue.
Yes, and very humid, especially to the east and southeast. Hill country is already starting to dry out. We got the front moving through as we speak, and you really can't see it out there at the airports. I don't know if that camera had a little bit of a shake to it or not. Notice how that plane, though, is starting to take off. It looks like off to the northwest because the wind is now shifted around, coming in out of the northwest, 12 miles per hour. Dew point still at 64. That's going to be dropping fairly quickly, as it has there at Helotes, Boerne, Kerrville. Dew points have really dropped off just compared to what they were half hour, 45 minutes ago. And that'll be the situation at the airport. And like I said, winds are now shifting around out of the northwest. And we've got a few gusts out there, 17 at the airport, 21 Los Maples. So, I mean, not overly windy, but windier this morning than what it will be later on this afternoon. Whole bunch of allergens out there. The updated count's going to come out in about an hour or so. And as far as the rest of the forecast today, so mostly cloudy. The front comes through. Windy conditions, dry drier air will continue to move on in here. Obviously, that has taken place in the hill country and starting to transition here in town right now. Then very sunny today, hot and dry, mid 80s, but very low humidity. So a really comfortable day today. You know, yesterday there was a bit of extra humidity hanging around here. Then the humidity is going to start to return, especially down to the southeast tomorrow morning. And that may actually scare up a little bit of fog in the east and southeast tomorrow morning. And then even hotter still. Going to be looking at 90 on Wednesday, upper 80s on Thursday to start off the month of March. But then we've got another front moving on through here. This is going to be a doozy of a front as far as the wind is concerned. It will pull in cooler air, just kind of putting us back down to normal readings. But yeah, very windy by Thursday and Friday, maybe a shower or two. The upcoming weekend, first weekend of March, little hint, looks great. Details coming up in just a couple of minutes. Traffic Authority, it's been quiet on the roads this morning.
It's been quiet, but you talk about the first week of March looking great. Things are not looking great out here, Mike. You know, it's 6:30. It's a busy hour, and things have already shifted on the roadways. We have a major crash that's been reported along 35 at Division. Now, our friends at TransGuide are combing through some of the cameras, and this is one of the shots that they're able to provide to us. And you can see that backup. Right now, it is bumper to bumper, and it is in one of those areas that is not good. 35 northbound, so people making their way into town will see this slowdown. So this is what's happening out there. Again, crash reported not too far from US 90, but check out how far that backup is going to take you, because we're seeing it going at least 2 miles all the way to South Cross Boulevard. So I expect that to continue to grow a little bit longer because of the fact more people are heading out the door and traveling in along 35 northbound. So we are getting ready to send some information out. Make sure you have your KSAT traffic page followed on Twitter and the app as well, and all the notifications turned on. Let's take a jump over here because we're also still keeping an eye on this crash, I-10 eastbound at Loop 1604, and that buildup has not gone anywhere. We're seeing traffic still moving, but at 6 miles per hour. So if you're heading out towards Seguin, maybe start looking for some different routes. I'll be doing the same thing. Let's give you a wide look at the map now. And really, we're going to start to see a lot more of that red take over our roadways, but I'm going to track things very closely. Again, 35 at Division seems to be the really big spot that we're going to see that buildup. We'll have more information coming up a little bit later on in this newscast, but for right now, just remember to pack your patience if you're traveling along either I-35 northbound or I-10 eastbound, guys.
Thank you, Stephen. New this morning, San Antonio police say one person is dead following a shooting overnight. Happened just after 11 p.m. on Frio City Road near Highway 90. That's on the city's southwest side. Police say a man was shot in the parking lot of a bar. He somehow made it back inside before collapsing. We're told emergency crews got there and tried to help him, but he later died. We're also told officers were able to detain a possible suspect in another part of town.
It's been just over 1 week since Red McCombs passed away at the age of 95, and later today will be his funeral service. That service will not be open to the public, but it will be live streamed. It's happening this morning at 10 at the Tobin Center in lieu of flowers. The family is asking donations be made for him at the Houston Cancer Center. Coming up on GMSA at 9, Max Massey will be covering the story and live reports. We also have all this information on our website at ksat.com.
Once again, the families of the Robb Elementary School shooting are speaking out against a controversial documentary. The documentary Robbed, 77 Minutes of Police Incompetence by Charlie Min was re-edited and will be released tomorrow, February 28th, at a theater in Uvalde for survivors of the shooting. The film was made to highlight the events of May 24th and the months afterwards last year. Last month, the families of the victims spoke up against the release of this movie because they say the director misled them and was capitalizing on their tragedy. Now they're hoping to block the release of this newly re-edited version. In a statement released by Lives Robbed, the nonprofit started by 4 of the families, quote, "It's obvious that Mr. Min's intention was always to focus on the horrors of that day, despite his promise of a victim-driven tribute. We are pursuing legal action in an attempt to stop the documentary's release on streaming services," end quote.
Topping your morning headlines, the federal government is moving ahead with plans to dispose of some of those hazardous waste from that train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio. The Norfolk Southern train derailed more than 3 weeks ago. The Environmental Protection Agency says a shipment of contaminated liquid and solid waste will head to 2 EPA facilities in Ohio today. EPA's regional administrator says federal, state, and local governments will closely monitor the operation to make sure the waste is safely removed. Right now, more than 100,000 gallons of liquid waste and 5 truckloads of soil need removal.
Now to President Joe Biden's ambitious student loan forgiveness plan that aims to lift millions of eligible borrowers out of student loan debt.
U.S. Supreme Court is set to hear oral arguments this week after the plan was paused due to 2 legal challenges.
ABC's Faith Abube is tracking the latest this morning.
After months in legal limbo, President Biden's sweeping student loan forgiveness plan faces a critical week at the nation's highest court. Lawyers backing 2 key legal efforts to block the plan set to argue their cases before the Supreme Court justices on Tuesday. 43 million eligible student loan borrowers anxiously waiting the court's decision.
Especially if you're low income, first generation, sometimes the debt that you'll have to take on can affect you and your family for years to come.
The Biden student loan forgiveness plan cancels $10,000 in student loans for individuals earning less than $125,000 a year and $20,000 if they were also recipients of Pell Grants. An ambitious campaign promise the president is trying to fulfill using his executive authority under the pandemic emergency.
Our student loan program is designed to give just a little more breathing room.
But separate lawsuits filed by 2 borrowers and a group of Republican-led states argue the president's plan is an illegal abuse of power and is unfair to some borrowers.
People knew what they were doing when they signed it, and they should pay it off.
But the latest Quinnipiac poll shows a majority of Americans support the student loan forgiveness plan. Roughly 1 in 6 adults carry some debt. Collectively, according to the Federal Reserve, Americans owe more than $1.6 trillion in student loans, many hoping the justices will allow Biden's plan to move forward.
It's not everything, but it would certainly help a lot and relieve a lot of that burden.
And lower courts have sided with the states, but it's unclear how the justices will rule. In the meantime, though, advocacy groups want the Biden administration to start considering backup plans in case it loses. In Washington, Faith Abube, ABC News.
Time right now, 6:39, 67 degrees.
Science says metabolism is genetic, but are you really doomed by what you're born with? After the break, some simple things you can do right now to rev up your metabolism.
6:42, we all hear about the importance of boosting metabolism, but did you know there are some hidden tricks to naturally boost it?
Leslie Hudson reports on simple changes to make to your daily routine that could be metabolism changing.
Genetics, hormones, medications, chronic stress, lack of sleep, trendy diets, dehydration, not enough caffeine, and not enough calcium. These are all things that science has proven can slow down our metabolism.
When a person either exercises or consumes food, their metabolism will increase or decrease.
Research shows there are simple things you can do right now that may rev up your metabolism. First up, drink morning coffee. The American Journal of Clinical Nutrition reported that caffeine can be used as a central nervous stimulant to kickstart your metabolism. And keep drinking all day long. Water, that is. A small study showed drinking 17 ounces of water increases metabolism by 30% an hour. Also, eat plenty of protein. It takes 20 to 30% more energy for your body to digest protein.
We know that protein in the diet, coming from things like chicken, beef, or eggs, increases the amount of muscle tissue. And so if a person meets their protein requirements, they can increase the body's ability to use food for energy.
And here's an easy one. Stand up more. A 2018 study found that standing at work was associated with higher metabolism. Personal trainers recommend fitting in what they call movement snacks every hour. With ways to get metabolism moving in the right direction, I'm Leslie Hudson reporting.
Okay, right now 6:44.
Time to check in with traffic. It looks like there's I-35 at Division. Some problems there, Steve.
Yeah, big backups, guys. Let's get a quick look there. 35 at Division is the shot, and you can see that it is bumper to bumper, and unfortunately, that situation has not improved, and we're probably not going to see any improvement for quite a while because a major crash has been reported in the northbound lanes of 35. I've been off and on the phone with our friends at TransGuide, just working to see what shots of the area we can get out there, and it does seem like this may be our best bet. 35 35 at Division Avenue. Now, remember, this is going northbound. As you approach US 90, that is where that crash has been reported, and unfortunately, it has led to big backups. Again, check this out. Earlier we talked about how traffic was stretched back about a mile. Now we're seeing it stretched out about 2 miles down to Southwest Military. So an area that we're going to see problems continue to build. Expect delays if you are traveling this early in the morning. If that's in your route, maybe best to look for a different route to get to your destination. And I would say the same goes over here because we are still seeing a crash reported along I-10 eastbound at Loop 1604. Now, unfortunately, I'm not seeing any chance of getting any TransGuide camera shots out there, but traffic still moving at 6 miles per hour and really barely moving here along 35 at Division. It has been a very busy morning in these two different areas of town. Hoping everyone's okay out there, but I believe we have Sarah Acosta who's heading out to the scene to get some information on this particular incident along 35 northbound as you approach Division Avenue. But for right now, this is the best shot that we're going to be able to show you guys.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. I meant to mention this earlier, and I totally forgot. A special good morning, everybody watching us. Apparently, we are on every TV set at the HEB warehouse every morning. So good morning to everybody working out there at the big warehouse for HEB.
I was trying to think if there was anything I missed at the grocery store.
Put that aside for Mike.
Eggs?
Yeah.
I need eggs.
Yeah, okay. I'll think of that later. Anyway, good morning, everybody. And also, I love this picture because, spring is in the air. We got a lot of things that are blooming, and especially the mountain laurel. Yes, that grape Kool-Aid smell. It's absolutely beautiful. Thank you very much for the KSAT Connect picture. All right, out there at the airport, as you can see, things are lightening up a little bit. The sun comes up in about 15 minutes or so. Got some clouds hanging around here. They're starting to break up a bit. Now, temperature is at 69 degrees as of right now, and then in the 50s in parts of the hill country. Wind has shifted around out of the northwest. The dew point has actually dropped at the airport now. It is down to the mid-30s like it is out in portions of the hill country. So fronts moving on through here. Dry air is in place, and we've got a bit of a wind gust out there. 17 at the airport, 21 Lost Maples. So the drier air, again, continues to work its way on in here throughout the course of the morning, and then also by the afternoon hours and down to the southeast as well. So everybody is going to be enjoying this drier air as we go into the rest of today. Then it turns around, comes back in here. So with the extra humidity around here, tomorrow we may see some fog, especially to the east and to the southeast. So that'll just be something we have to kind of be on the lookout for. Temperatures this morning, like I said, we have dropped down a little bit. We will kind of fluctuate the next couple of hours and then get up into the mid to upper 70s today at noon. Plenty of sunshine out there, 85 high temperature. Windier this morning, not overly windy, but windier this morning, and then just a nice breeze this afternoon. Very pleasant out there with that dry air, but 15 degrees above normal. So we have got nothing upstream from us. Here's the huge storm system. This is the water vapor imagery, looking at the moisture in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere, almost kind of like an X-ray, if you will, of the atmosphere. Here's the next big storm system coming in here out of the Gulf of Alaska. That's the one that's going to work its way on in here. That is going to pull another front through here late Thursday into Friday. Now, ahead of it, we are going to be getting a fair amount of humidity to build back in here by the middle portion of the week. And also this southwesterly and westerly flow in the atmosphere is really going to help to warm things up. So here comes that next low. This one's going to be close enough to give us a chance for a couple of showers, a couple of thunderstorms as it moves through on Thursday. Then in behind, that's going to pull down normal temperatures. So we're going to be very hot today, heating up over the next couple of days. Then that front moves through back to where we should be for the first weekend of March, which is right around 70 for a high temperature. But it's also going to be really windy when that thing moves on through here. More on that in a second. 78 degrees today at noon, mostly sunny skies. Still a breeze out there, and then 85 high temperature today with lower humidity. Really pleasant afternoon. Tomorrow we get even hotter. More humidity is going to work its way back on in here. I'm going for 90 on Wednesday. It's going to be really hot, and it's still going to be hot Thursday. Front moves through, a couple of showers, very windy Thursday night into Friday, and then normal temperatures in through the weekend. So make some outdoor plans. Good looking weekend.
Not bad. I don't think I'm ready for 90, but at least there's a break in the weekend.
Yes. Yeah, it's not here to, it hasn't kind of locked in as of yet. So I know. It's like,
Too
90,
soon.
really?
Too soon. Thanks,
Please,
Mike.
no.
About 10 till 7, 66 degrees.
There's new science between people and their pups tomorrow on GMSA. Why Fido may truly be the one who understands you the most.
Outside with Live Cam, we'll wrap up this newscast. You're watching GMSA on a Monday morning. We'll be right back.
The Kremlin is accusing the West of trying to destroy Russia.
They have one goal: to break up the former Soviet Union in its main part, the Russian Federation.
During an interview with Russian state TV, Russian President Vladimir Putin said the goal of leading NATO countries is to, quote, inflict a strategic defeat on us so that our people suffer.
How can we, under these conditions, not take into account their nuclear potentials? They supply Ukraine with weapons worth tens of billions of dollars, because this is participation in the usual sense.
Speaking of participation, U.S. officials say they are confident China is considering sending lethal aid to Russia in its war against Ukraine.
Beijing will have to make its own decisions about how it proceeds, whether it provides military assistance. But if it goes down that road, it will come at real cost to China.
As the Russian invasion of Ukraine enters its second year, President Joe Biden's administration's stance on the issue is clear.
We're not going to stand by and allow one country to roll over another country and try to wipe it off the mat. And we're going to build and have built a coalition of more than 50 nations to resist that and help the Ukrainians defend their own territory.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
6:54.
Let's check back with Stephen Cavazos about the mess on I-35.
Yeah, this is a bad situation right now. 35 northbound at Division Avenue. As Shashad, our friends at TransGuide, are able to show us big backups. Expect big delays as well because we have a major crash reported in the northbound lanes. Our Sarah Acosta is heading out to the scene to gather some information. But it's going to take a while if you're traveling along 35 northbound. That red has not gone anywhere. In fact, we're seeing more of it build a little bit further past Southwest Military, now stretching past 2 miles. So we'll update that a little bit later on. But it does seem the issues continue over here as well along I-10 eastbound as you approach Loop 1604. A second crash also reported. Now, this one actually reported earlier, I should say, but traffic still moving at just 7 miles per hour. It is not a good morning out on the roadways. We're going to see a lot more activity out there, but just check out a lot of that red that's starting to take over our screen. I'm expecting that as Morning Rush does kick into high gear, we're going to start to see a few more issues out there. But the big problem is going to be here at 35 at Division, where we have big slowdowns, Mike.
Starting to clear out a little bit out there at the airport. Just a few leftover clouds and temperature 65 degrees, mid-50s hill country. Much drier air has moved on in here now. It was very humid earlier, but the dry air has come on in here. Winds out of the northwest and 26-mile-per-hour gusts out there at Stinson. So windier this morning, 24 at New Braunfels, 78 at noon, 85 high temperature today. Very dry air, really comfortable day, and then it's going to heat up the next few days. Big front comes through on Thursday. So March comes in hot.
Very hot. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for joining us today.
Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you back here for GMSA at 9.